this is a big day in our campaign, and I want to talk for a moment about what we've done and what we intend to do throughout this campaign and next year when we do change the district attorney's office. First of all, I'm a prosecutor because I think the first role of government is to keep people safe, and Westchester must be safe, and right now, not everything is being done to keep Westchester safe. We have been going around the county talking to citizens at street fairs, door to door at their homes, train stations. We've talked to police officers, and we know that much more can be done to help crime victims, to keep violent felons and other violent criminals off the streets. And I'd like to talk about a couple of those things. First of all, we have a problem with crime victims in this county that they're not getting the services they need, and they're not given the attention from the DA's office that they should expect from the Westchester County District Attorney's Office. One example is that we have a revolving door of prosecutors in criminal cases in Westchester right now. We have, in one criminal case, the assistant DA assigned to that case will change every few weeks, and a crime victim will become very frustrated with that. Police officers will become very frustrated with that. And I have one friend who is a recent victim of a misdemeanor sex crime in Westchester who complained to me that she had to go through 4 different assistant district attorneys over the course of her case, retelling this very personal and tragic story over and over again. We're going to change that. We're going to have a streamlined, better management system in the DA's office where once someone is a victim of a case, they'll be assigned a prosecutor who will work with them and work with the police from beginning to end. My passion is prosecuting crimes of domestic violence, sex crimes, child abuse. And right now, we're not doing all we can to bring services to those victims. In other counties, in New York City, they've set up family justice centers where services for domestic violence victims are in one location with the police, with the DA's office, giving them help to get over the trauma of these abuses, helping them get employment assistance if they want to get a job to leave the financial power that an abuser may have over them. They may need immigration assistance. They have a lot of issues. And we want to establish a family justice center in Westchester with the DA's office where a victim can come by, meet with the police, meet with the prosecutors, and get all the help that they deserve. We're also going to end the easy plea bargains that are happening right now in Westchester. All too often right now, we see felon after felon arrested and then released on probation. We have to end that. We had a case recently in Pleasantville where a police officer complained that the same felon was being arrested for burglary again and again, and that detective sergeant was suspended. Instead, we must recognize that complaint as valid, and we have to stop this pattern of revolving door justice where people are arrested and then released on probation a few weeks later. That will end. And finally, and most importantly, we have to rebuild the relationship with the police. We must have a district attorney who is pro-law enforcement and who will administer justice equally across the board. And I've spoken to PBAs around this county, and I hear from the police, and I hear from those who know the police, that this DA's office is not a friend of the police, does not work with them, and does not use the assets that the police departments in this county offer in order to better protect the people of Westchester County. I've worked with police officers in every department in this county as a prosecutor in Westchester. And I know that we have excellent law enforcement here who are frustrated because they are not being given the ability to do the best job that they can do, and we'll change that next year. Today marks a big day in our campaign. For the last 6 months, we've been all around the county, talking to voters, talking to police officers, and today we establish our campaign office. This, at least now, will have a center of operations where people can come talk to us if we are not out in their community. And we welcome the community to come by, talk with us, and get involved. And we have 9 months to go until Election Day. We will reestablish strong, effective leadership in the DA's office after the election. And I thank you for your time, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
How's your fundraising going?
We're doing very well in fundraising. We currently have about $120,000 in the bank, which is about as much as Janet DeFiore has in the bank. For a first-time candidate running against an incumbent, we consider that extremely successful. We just hired a full-time professional fundraiser who will continue in that effort. But one of the reasons that we continue to move forward with such confidence is that the fundraising has been very, very successful. We've raised money from all over the county and beyond the county. People know Westchester and the DA's office here as an important office that people want to get involved with and they want to be involved in the campaign.
What about the fact that Janet DeFiore switched parties to become a Democrat, because the word is, if you're a Republican, you can't get elected in Westchester?
Republicans have never lost a district attorney race in Westchester County, and we're not going to start now. Janet DeFiore became the first Democrat to be a district attorney since 1895. And there's nothing wrong with switching parties. I have friends who have switched parties to become Republicans, to become Democrats. What's important is the sincerity of a person. Janet DeFiore ran for district attorney, stood where I'm standing 4 years ago, and said she was a Republican. She raised a lot of money from Republicans. A lot of people, including me, worked on her campaign. And they handed out her flyers, they ran around the county supporting her. And about a year after she got elected, she changed. And she said the reason was that the Democratic Party was closer to her views. However, the year before, the Democratic and Republican nominations were both available. So if the Democratic views were closer to hers, she could have gone for the Democratic nomination. So it raised questions about whether there was a really sincere switch based on principle, or whether it was a calculated move to just gain favorable help in the next election. And the DA's office, the DA, more than any other person in law enforcement or in government, their word has to mean something, because based on the district attorney's word, people's houses are searched, people's freedom is taken away, their property is confiscated. So if the DA is not sincere, and if their word cannot be believed, that undermines the whole law enforcement system. Finally, I'll also say that I know she's reached out recently to the Conservative Party to try to get their endorsement, and once again, that undermines her credibility. She went from Republican to Democrat, but now she's putting out feelers. I saw her at a Conservative Party function a few months ago. So we need someone who's going to be honest with the people of Westchester County, and it doesn't seem like we have that right now.
Any particular case that stands out for you that she's dropped the ball on, you think?
There are several. I think one of the big ones that happened recently was in Pleasantville. Detective Sergeant Stephen Bernura was talking about Khalil Gonzalez, who was arrested multiple times for burglary, and repeatedly, despite the promises of the DA's office, he was released. And Detective Sergeant Bernura, who is an excellent detective sergeant, he said the DA's office keeps releasing people and law enforcement is frustrated, and he was suspended without pay. And now 6 months later, he had to resign instead of facing termination. I actually worked with Detective Sergeant Bernura. He was the main witness on a trial I did about 4 years ago, the trial of Sheila Davalou, who was arrested for attempted murder in Pleasantville. And we convicted her at trial. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. And I know him. He's an excellent law enforcement officer. And if I'm elected, he'll be the first person that I'll actually bring into the district attorney's investigator squad. These are the type of people who speak out because they want to keep people safe, and he was rewarded after he criticized the DA's office with suspension and now losing his job. Anything else? Well, thank you all for coming. This is not the beginning, but this is a major point in our campaign, and I look forward to working with you over the next 9 months and then beyond that in the DA's office. Thank you.